Today, we're diving into the hidden dangers that might be lurking in your kitchen. We all try to eat healthy, right? But what if I told you that some of the most celebrated health foods could actually be toxic? And look, I'm not talking about some long-term, slow-burn issue that might cause problems 10 years from now. I'm talking about immediate, acute, and sometimes even fatal reactions. These aren't some weird, exotic ingredients. We're talking about foods you probably have in your fridge or pantry right now. And the stories we're about to share, they're all real, backed by documented medical cases. This isn't about scaring you. It's about making you aware. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll look at how these healthy foods can hide such dangers. Then, we'll get into the specifics: toxic vegetables, poisonous pantry staples, and even some popular fruits that can be perilous. And don't worry, we'll wrap it all up with a super simple checklist to keep you and your family safe. So here's the most important thing to get your head around. These foods aren't evil. They're actually packed with good stuff. The danger comes from one tiny mistake: how you prepare them, how you select them, or how much you eat. It's really all about knowing the rules of the game. Let's kick things off with a couple of staples from the vegetable drawer. First up, the humble bottle gourd. You know, it's often praised as this amazing superfood for weight loss and good skin. But yeah, it's got a dark side. Picture this. It's 2018. A 41-year-old woman in Pune, super fit, ran 5 kilometers every single morning. She downs her usual bottle gourd juice, but this time it tastes bitter. She drank it anyway. And that common belief, that bitter things must be healthy for you, well, it turned out to be a fatal mistake. Within hours, she suffered a brain hemorrhage. 3 days later, she died on a ventilator. And she's not the only one. Other cases, including the death of a senior scientist, have really shaken the medical community. So what's going on here scientifically? Well, when a bottle gourd plant gets stressed out, maybe from extreme heat or not enough water, it creates this highly toxic compound called cucurbitacin. And this isn't just something that'll give you a tummy ache, it's what's called a cytotoxic poison. That means it literally destroys your body's cells on contact. And this kind of defense mechanism in plants isn't that unusual. Let's look at the potato. Back in 1979, a school in London served potatoes that had turned green. 78 kids got sick. 17 of them ended up in the hospital with just terrifying symptoms: hallucinations, vomiting. Their central nervous systems were just collapsing, all because the potatoes had been exposed to light. The toxin in this case is called solanine. It's a neurotoxin. And get this, you can't fry it or boil it away. It's an inhibitor, which means it physically blocks the signals that travel between your brain and your nerves. And it doesn't take much either. Just one medium-sized green potato can actually be lethal for a small child. Okay, let's move out of the fridge for a minute and into the pantry. We're talking about things that sit on our shelves for months and seem totally harmless. First on the list, the beloved kidney bean. So in 2006, a really popular TV show in Japan promoted this new weight loss hack. They told everyone to just roast some kidney beans for 3 minutes and then eat them. Well, the very next day, a medical emergency swept the entire country. More than 1,000 people were hospitalized with really, really bad gastrointestinal issues, all because they ate undercooked beans. And here's the part that's just wild. You don't need a whole bowl. According to the US FDA, it takes as few as 4 or 5 raw or undercooked kidney beans to have enough of a toxin called phytohemagglutinin to make you violently ill. 4 beans. So this just goes to show you don't need some trendy new hack. The traditional way is the only safe way. You soak the beans overnight, you have to throw that water away, and then you boil them, and I mean a rolling boil for at least 30 minutes. That's what it takes to completely destroy the toxin. All right, next up, nutmeg. It's a fantastic, warm spice when you use just a little bit. But in 2020, the nutmeg challenge went viral on TikTok. It encouraged teens to eat large amounts to get a so-called natural high. The result? A flood of calls to poison control centers for teenagers who were having extreme panic attacks, hallucinations, and heart rates that were just dangerously high. So here's why that happens. Nutmeg has a compound in it called myricidin. In the tiny amounts you'd use for baking, totally fine. But when you take too much, it crosses a line. It stops being a spice and turns into a potent psychoactive drug that directly messes with your central nervous system. This condition is so well known, it actually has a name: nutmeg psychosis.
Now we're going to talk about some dangers that are really surprising, and they're found in fruits we eat all the time. Let's start with a snack that's basically the poster child for healthy eating: almonds. Just this year, a 36-year-old woman was rushed to the hospital after eating about 40 almonds. Her blood was literally turning acidic, she fell unconscious, and doctors had to put her on a ventilator just to save her life. So what on earth could have gone so wrong with almonds? The answer is incredibly simple and absolutely terrifying. The almonds were bitter. Now, the sweet almonds we buy in the store are safe, but bitter almonds, which can sometimes get mixed in, contain a chemical called amygdalin. And when that stuff mixes with your stomach acid, it creates hydrogen cyanide. Yep, that cyanide. Just a handful can be fatal.
And this next story is it's just heartbreaking. For 2 decades, this mysterious illness haunted a city in India called Muzaffarpur. Every summer, like clockwork, perfectly healthy kids would suddenly have seizures and die. Locals called it the ghost fever. Finally, in 2014, after so many deaths, researchers found the real culprit. It wasn't a virus. It was unripe lychees, which have toxins that cause a catastrophic drop in blood sugar, especially in malnourished kids who were eating them on an empty stomach. Finally, let's quickly talk about apple seeds. They contain the exact same cyanide-producing compound as bitter almonds, amygdalin. Now, if you swallow a few whole seeds by accident, no big deal. Their tough outer shell protects you. The danger is when you crush them, say if you throw a whole apple into a blender for a smoothie. That's when the compound is released and the poison gets activated.
Okay, after all of that, you might be feeling a little nervous about your fruit bowl, but you really don't have to be. The solutions are unbelievably simple, and they just rely on our basic senses. So let's wrap this all up with a clear, easy guide.
So, how do you stay safe? It's really all about paying attention. If your bottle gourd juice or an almond tastes bitter, don't power through it. Spit it out immediately. If your potato has a green spot, cut it off. If it's really green, just toss it. Always cook your beans the right way. With nutmeg, it's all about the dose, a pinch, not a spoonful. Only eat lychees when they're fully red and ripe. And always, always core your apples before you blend them. See? It's that simple.
The big takeaway here isn't to be afraid of your food, it's to respect it. A lot of these incidents are driven by modern trends, the juicing craze, raw food diets, viral social media challenges. So it really leaves us with a critical question. What other popular health advice are we all following right now without ever stopping to question if it's actually safe? Thanks for watching.